Your dog dug a hole in your couch today, or your bed, or your blanket, or that one spot on the carpet they've been working on for weeks. And you probably said their name in that tone, or pulled them off, or wondered why an animal that has never lived outside a single day in their life is so determined to destroy something that doesn't even contain dirt. What if I told you that behavior is one of the most ancient survival programs ever written into a living animal, and your dog is running it on your couch because their DNA does not know that you have already built them a safer home than their ancestors ever had? Welcome to Cute Pet Family. Subscribe right now because what you're about to learn will change the way you see one of the most misunderstood behaviors in the entire dog-owner relationship. Let's start with what everyone assumes. Dog digs at couch. Dog is being destructive. Dog needs more training, or more exercise, or a stronger correction. The interpretation feels obvious because the behavior is happening on a piece of furniture. That cost you money and is now becoming visibly worse. But the interpretation is wrong in a very specific way. Because what your dog is doing has nothing to do with destruction, and nothing to do with training failure. The behavior is a fixed action pattern, a term used in animal behavior science to describe a hardwired sequence of motor actions that, once triggered, runs to completion regardless of context or environment. Fixed action patterns are not learned. They are not chosen. They are biological programs that exist in an animal's nervous system from birth, and they fire whenever the right conditions activate them. Your dog is not destroying your couch. Your dog is running a program, and the program is older than human civilization by a factor of about 100. To understand what the program is doing, you have to look at where it comes from. The behavior is called nest building or den preparation in canid behavioral literature, and it exists in nearly every wild canid species on the planet. Wolves do it. Foxes do it. Coyotes do it. Wild dogs do it. The behavior typically appears in three contexts in wild populations. The first is preparing a sleeping site. A wild canid arriving at a resting location will dig, scratch, and turn in circles to prepare the surface for sleep. The digging serves multiple functions at once. It removes sharp debris like sticks, stones, and insects. It exposes cooler soil during hot weather or compacts insulating material during cold weather. It releases scent from the ground that can mask the canid's own scent from predators, and it creates a slight depression that conforms to the body, conserving heat across the night. The second context is preparing a denning site. A pregnant or denning female will spend hours digging and shaping a space. That will house vulnerable puppies for the first weeks of their life. The third context is hiding food. A canid with surplus prey will dig to cache the food, then dig again later to retrieve it. All three of these contexts share the same motor sequence: scratch, dig, turn, settle. And all three are running through your dog's nervous system every time they target your couch. Here is what makes this fascinating. The trigger for nest-building behavior is not the presence of dirt. It is the cognitive sequence of arriving at a resting location and preparing it for use. This is why dogs dig at surfaces that contain no dirt at all: couches, beds, hardwood floors, tile. The brain is not asking, "Can I dig here?" The brain is asking, "Am I about to rest here? And if so, the program runs." Domestication has changed almost everything about your dog except the parts that go deepest. And nest building is one of the deepest. The behavior has been documented in nearly every domestic dog breed studied, from the smallest companion breeds to the largest working breeds. Even dogs that have been bred for centuries to live exclusively indoors show the behavior in identical motor patterns to their wolf ancestors. The program does not know that the couch is a couch. The program only knows that this is the place where rest is about to happen. And rest, in canid evolutionary history, requires preparation. There is a second layer to this that explains some of the patterns owners find confusing. Why does the digging sometimes get more intense before bed? Why does it appear suddenly in adult dogs that never did it before? Why do female dogs sometimes do it more intensely around hormonal cycles? The answer is that nest building is regulated by multiple internal triggers. The most reliable trigger is approaching sleep. A dog whose nervous system is downshifting toward rest will run the program more strongly, which is why the most intense digging often happens in the minutes before settling. Hormonal triggers also activate the program. Pregnant dogs, dogs in heat, and even spayed females during certain points in residual hormonal cycling show increased nest-building behavior. Stress is another trigger. A dog that is anxious, uncertain, or processing change in their environment often runs the nest-building program as a self-soothing mechanism. The repetitive motor sequence has a documented calming effect on canid nervous systems, similar to the way humans pace, fidget, or rearrange a workspace when stressed. The dog is, in those moments, doing the same thing for the same reason. A familiar, repetitive, body-organizing behavior that brings the nervous system back into regulation. Here is the science that confirms this is not interpretation. Animal behaviorists studying captive wolves and feral dog populations have documented that nest-building behavior persists in genetically isolated populations across thousands of generations. A 2018 study, published in the journal Animal Behavior, examined the heritability of complex motor patterns in domestic dogs and found that nest-building sequences showed high genetic conservation across breeds, meaning the behavior is preserved in dogs whose ancestors haven't dug a real den in hundreds of generations. The program does not weaken with disuse. It simply waits for the trigger. And the trigger arrives every single night. There is one more thing about this behavior that most owners completely miss. The choice of location matters, and it tells you something about your relationship with your dog. A dog that nest builds on your couch, your bed, or your clothing is making a specific selection. Those locations carry the highest concentration of your scent in the home. Your dog is not just preparing a resting place. They are preparing a resting place that smells like you. In canid social structure, nest building near pack members is a sign of strong group affiliation. A wild canid prepares a nest in proximity to the rest of the pack because shared scent, shared body heat, and shared vigilance increase survival across the night. Your dog choosing your couch over their own bed is not a preference for comfort. It is a preference for closeness. The nest building program has selected the location it considers most secure. And the most secure location in your dog's evolutionary calculation is the one that smells like family. So, what do you do with this? The first thing is to stop punishing it. The behavior is not a training failure. It is a fixed action pattern, and fixed action patterns cannot be eliminated. They can only be redirected. Punishing the behavior does not stop the program. It just teaches your dog to be anxious about running it in your presence. The second thing is to provide an outlet. A blanket, a designated digging mat, or a soft surface that can absorb the behavior without damaging your furniture. Place the outlet near where you spend time, so the dog can run the program in its preferred social location. Most dogs will gradually shift the behavior onto the outlet if it is offered consistently. The third thing is to recognize what the digging on your bed is actually saying. Your dog has selected the location where they want to sleep, and that location is in their nervous system. The behavior that looks like destruction is the visible end of one of the deepest social bonds. A canid is biologically capable of forming. Receive it that way. The deeper truth is this: your dog is running programs in their nervous system that predate the existence of furniture, predate the existence of houses, predate the existence of human civilization itself. You happen to be the place those programs land, because you are, by every measure their evolutionary inheritance can recognize, the center of their pack. The digging is not destruction. It is preparation for a rest that is happening in the dog's mind in the safest place they have ever known. Now, you can see it, and once you do, you will receive that behavior differently for the rest of your life. If this changed the way you see your dog, share it with one person. whose dog digs at the couch every night, and they have spent years thinking it was bad behavior. Subscribe to Cute Pet Family. Every week we decode the signals your pet has been sending. Since the day they came home, they've been speaking. It is time you finally learned to listen.